Hello and welcome to Council Action. I'm Russ Inman, and joining us tonight from Ward 6 is Councilman Gerard Henke.
Thanks.
How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Good council meeting tonight.
It was a good council meeting. And we started off with a very positive note with the police department, some proclamations for National Police Week, and then that was followed by a number of commendations that just go to show how great the Florissant Police Department is.
Yeah, I think it's, you can't say enough of how good our police department is, especially with some of the tribulations that are going on around us, how we've kept, Florissant has kept the lid on everything and kept it under control. I think, and tonight the commendations that came out, you see what these officers do on a daily basis. This is what their job is. Very impressive, very impressive, very impressed with our police department here in Florissant.
Keeping us safe, keeping the criminals off the streets. We'll just mention their names real quick. It was Shanta Williams, Police Officer Steve Beckham, Emil Topkajic, Eric Schluter, Brian Law, Nicholas Osmer, Kelly and his K9, Jonathan Kemp, Tyler Italiano, Eric Schultler, and Mike Kiefer. And I apologize if I didn't pronounce any of those right, but I did want to at least kind of give a quick shout out to those police officers.
Right, and it ran the gamut, what the recommendations were for drugs, guns, the violent crimes, statutory rape. I mean, it ran the gamut of good police work. Once again, good for our city.
Well, after those commendations, we had hearing from the citizens. This is a chance where you can come to the council meetings and you can spend a couple moments addressing the council and let them know what you like or don't like about the city, or maybe some bills that you'd like to see brought forth to the council. Tonight, we saw one lady that we'd seen before. She just wanted to quickly talk to the city about her pit bull she'd had for several months now, and she's really hoping for the city to kind of change the rules and laws about that breed-specific ban on pit bulls.
Very difficult, very difficult. I've had some calls from out of my ward on this very issue. It's one of those that those phone calls, like you get phone calls and you try to answer in a positive. Okay, we'll fix this, the neighbor's grass, the streets, whatever, we try to fix something. This one's very difficult because there's so much passion. It's a family dog that's involved here.
Absolutely.
But the statistics show, there's a lot of statistics out there just both ways on this breed-specific legislation. I don't see us turning it over, overturning our ordinance. Now the state of Missouri may take some action, and if the state of Missouri takes some action, it will therefore predicate what we do here in Florissant. And it's very difficult to tell somebody that on the phone. Say, look, I understand this is your pet, you've had it this long. Okay, we'll make an exception for you. And then Russell comes to the next guy and says, well, what about me? I've got one and I can give you all. Okay, we'll make an exception for you. At some point in time, you no longer have an ordinance. The ordinance doesn't mean anything. And it was enacted for a reason. It says for public safety. I'm not going to get into a long argument with people over it. If it would be the will of the people to overturn this ordinance, of all the people, then we'll have to take a serious look at it. But until such time, I don't see us doing much action on it. Personal opinion.
No, that's great. Do you know what the surrounding communities that are close to Florissant, what their feelings are?
Oh, yeah. There's, and I don't have it in front of me. I've got online and looked up this Missouri cities with breed-specific ordinances, and there's very, very many of them in the state of Missouri. You can get online and look at them all over the country, by state. But I looked at Missouri's, and I don't remember the exact number, Russ.
So Florissant's not isolated.
Oh, no. There's very many of them that have the same style of legislation.
That takes us to public hearings. We finally got to see Dennys Restaurant show up. They hadn't been here for the last couple meetings, and this has been continued and continued again. Tonight they did have a representative here show up to talk about some of the renovations, some of the changes that they'd like to make to the facility, both inside and out.
Right. And the changes look very well, the pictures that we've got. Unfortunately...
What are they going to do? Explain to the audience that may not have seen the meeting what some of these facades are.
Well, there's a stonework facade that's going on. It looks really nice. I can show you some pictures of it here. They're going to spruce it up, basically spruce up the building. New paint, new interior, new exterior look, and the pictures we saw looked very good. The only problem with it, and we want to move forward, obviously any business that wants to clean up, spruce up in Florissant, we're all for it. The only problem is we've had a couple meetings prior to this with public hearings and no one showed up. So we couldn't get any traction on where we were going with approving this. So tonight, and it was on their part, maybe miscommunications or turnover in help or whatever the reason was. So tonight, they came in, and they were kind of hoping for 3 readings, but you don't have a public hearing and 3 readings to approve it on the same night. Bad precedent. It wouldn't be good for the next guy down the road once again that comes up with something that has a public hearing to get public comment on it and then push it through. The reason we put these off for another meeting is it gives us some time to digest. If any other questions come up, somebody can show up at the next meeting and say, what about this? What about this? To give the public a chance to speak about it rather than just zoom, 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 and it's done before everybody goes, well, what happened? So that's...
And I didn't hear the council with too many objections about the faux brick, the concrete brick type facade. A lot of it comes up with, and we've heard this in many meetings past, the painted brick, the painted masonry. And they've already got a painted building, but they're looking to paint it another color, and how they're going to treat it before they paint it to make sure that the building and the color lasts.
Right, and that's the painted masonry. It's my short term on the council it's kind of been a thorn. They allow it. It's on the books. No, we're not supposed to, but we're allowing it. It looks good in certain instances. Like this one, they just wanted one of the bones of contention was to change the color of the brick. Now, if they got a variance to paint it in the first place, now requires another variance to change the color. So that's, for one thing, now 3 readings. Let's get our ducks in a row and figure out what we're doing.
Make sure what color it's even going to be.
Exactly.
Right, okay. The next public hearing tonight was a request to authorize an amendment to a special use permit. This is allowing the expansion of a nursing home in a B4 district on Charbonnier Road. This is Bentwood Rehabilitation Center?
Bentwood, 1501 Charbonnier, the address, midway between Paul and Lindbergh. It's on the, heading towards Paul, heading west, it would be on the right-hand side. Nice facility.
Sounds
very
like
well maintained.
They bought a couple properties at the back of their lot or at the side of their lot?
Either side. If you drive up there, especially on that north side of Charbonnier heading out, there's some houses with some very big lots up there. So there's a lot of land around those houses in particular.
I think they added about 3,000 acres. Or not 3,000, 3 acres.
Yeah.
And they're adding a 13,000 square foot facility.
20 additional beds in their facility. And like I said, it was brought up at the meeting tonight. They've been really model citizens, taking very good care, very good upkeep, and then, like I said, that's what we want.
Second readings tonight, there was a special use permit. This was the Johnny Londoff Chevrolet for the added repair facility that went through a second and a third reading that passed the council tonight.
Yeah, well, Johnny Londoff, once again, I sound like a broken record here, I guess, but Johnny Londoff's been a very good citizen of Florissant. Everybody has been here for any amount of time. He's added repair bays, 6 bays repairs at the back of the building, another building for repairs, not paint, but just auto repairs. And once again, the drawings look good, and I think Mr. Londoff comes before this council nothing's going to be second class. He's going to do it right.
Good. There was a request to amend special use permit for a New York grill to allow for renovations of a property at Flower Valley Shopping Center. That also passed tonight after a couple readings.
Another restaurant in Flower Valley Shopping Center, which is a new that Flower Valley's shopping center across from where the new Walmart's going in there. And basically just redoing a restaurant that's in that plaza there.
Board appointments. This is something that comes up every meeting, and we often overlook it in a show like this. But tell the city and the citizens watching how to be a part of one of these board appointments if they're interested in serving for the city.
I would, first thing, contact your councilman for your ward. Some board appointments, like the traffic committee, different ones, are recommended by the councilman for that ward, and they come from all the wards. Other ones are appointed by the mayor, but we can pass the recommendations on to the mayor. Some are, like I said, council appointed or mayor appointed. The council appointed ones, one of them on the traffic commission for mine. I was on the traffic commission before I became councilman. So you recommend somebody else that's willing to get on that commission. And if you're interested, contact your councilman and have him say, I would be interested in, because there's a lot. If you get on the City of Florissant's website, there's all kinds of boards and commissions. Everything from the youth advisory to the senior citizens, and everything in between. Whether, like I said, whether it be the traffic or the parks or the, and it's a good way for citizens to be involved with whatever their particular interest is in their city that they want to be a part of.
And I think the mayor mentioned traffic commission is looking for a few folks.
Yes, traffic commission is. Now, I don't know what wards, but nonetheless, still contact your councilman. And it's interesting. It's things, speed limits and no parking and stuff that affects your neighborhood.
Well, Gerard, we had bills for first reading. That came up next. The first one was the Dennys restaurant that we had the public hearing on.
Right.
That had one reading. We also had the special use permit for the nursing home, just one reading for that public hearing tonight. We had a third that passed after three. Now, this is a general fund budget kind of transfer around. These usually do go through in one piece. This is using some asset forfeiture funds for the police department to get some patrol motorcycles. And that's going to be a new venue for the city.
Yeah, and like you said, cut to the chase here, but it is.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Boy, I just walked right into that one, didn't I? The asset forfeiture, they're just moving some money around they're getting a couple of used motorcycles from the Highway Patrol.
Okay,
and I'm assuming they're in good condition. And they're adding, we'll have a couple of motorcycle cops in Florissant, which is, like the mayor alluded to, it's a whole different method of policing. Plus, it's a little interactive with the community too, whether it be the parades or the funeral processions or things like that, where the little show of the Florissant police in more, not in the typical police role, I guess, if you will.
And we had an ordinance authorizing appropriation of $30,000 from a capital improvement fund. This is St. Anthony Lane Bridge replacement.
Yeah, they, once again, they're planning, estimates come in higher on this planning to replace this bridge. And I'll just read from the memos that we received on it. Additional funds will be shifted from later phases of the project so that the overall projected cost of the project has not increased. This project is funded with 80% federal funds and 20% city matching funds. However, the city must provide the full amount up front before being reimbursed with federal funds. The net change in design cost of the city after federal reimbursements would be $5,810.
Okay.
So a lot of this stuff, like you say, these go through relatively because they're pretty straightforward. There's nothing slid in or all of a sudden this is costing a whole lot more money or a big expenditure that no one expected. It's pretty straightforward bookkeeping method.
Okay. Council announcements, that came up next. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your ward.
Well, a couple things. I think when we did the council announcements, this Valley of Flowers that we just got done with, the Valley of Flowers, I thought was one of the best. I remember them from when I was a young man many years ago. The Valley of Flowers were great. And they've implemented the last couple of years some more restrictive, if you will, age requirements, kids, parents, different things. And I think it's paying off well. This Valley of Flowers, and last year's was great too. Very little incidents, talking with the police chief, hardly any incidents, more family oriented. It had a better feel to it.
Yeah.
And I can see it going forward, more wholesome or more family oriented festival, because it is a premier festival in the St. Louis County area. So we're moving forward. And I wanted to thank also at the city itself, all the departments in the city, and I wanted to thank the citizens of Florissant also for how well they cleaned up and how quickly they cleaned up. After the Valley of Flowers, the parade, within 2 days, everything's picked up, cleaned up. It was great. It was really nice.
And the mayor even had to apologize for taking credit for the weather.
Well, you think he wouldn't? I'm surprised he apologized. No, sorry, Mayor.
Let's see, what else did we have from other council members in the announcements? We talked about making sure, now that it's getting warmer, keep your pets inside a little bit more. Don't let them get dehydrated. Watch for street lights. Canned goods, team's always taking donations.
Always good. Yeah, and I mentioned that too. The letter carriers just had their food drive this past Saturday. Many of you may know I was a letter carrier, and it's a big thing. It's a huge deal for us, and the whole delivery area of Florissant, all the food that was collected went to our food pantry right here, the team pantry here.
Terrific.
Along those lines too, what Timmy had mentioned about the dogs, and I saw that from all the years carrying mail. You got to watch your dog. I said, it'd break your heart sometimes. You see a dog chained outside with no water, and it's 95 degrees out. It's like, come on, people.
Think about it.
Think about this a little bit, right? So it was a good point to bring out.
And the only thing else that was mentioned, I think it was mentioned 2 weeks ago, is cut your grass. It's starting to grow. We're getting plenty of rain, plenty of sunlight.
Right.
Be sure to make sure you cut your grass.
We are actually working out dates for a work session with the council, and that's one of the things, and let people know, I know one of the things scheduled in the work session is appearance, code violations, cutting grass, taking care of rental properties. These are the things that people put on our plate, and rightfully so. These are things that we are going to be working on to try to keep this, because it takes neighbors to make a neighborhood. Everybody's got to be a part of it.
Well, Florissant is the Valley of Flowers. It's meant to be a beautiful city, and when you start seeing grass 8 inches high,
Right.
it's hard to see it.
Especially when you're working on yours.
Exactly.
Right.
Anything else that you'd like to mention? Any new business that you're seeing coming to your ward here in the next few months?
Actually, not any real new businesses, things I'd like to see come up, but what I would like, my phone number is 831-1180. We're getting into the season for some block parties. Give me a call. Let's get some block parties going on in Ward 6. Let's get to neighbor. Go out and
Get to know each other.
Get to know each other. And there's nothing better than a block party. Get some of these nice summer nights and we'll go out and barbecue and have a beverage.
Terrific.
Meet your neighbors.
Well, Gerard, thank you for your time on the show. Thanks for going through the meeting with us, making it understandable for the residents watching. We appreciate your service and your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Russell Inman. This has been Council Action. We'll see you next time.